An absolute worst case scenario has now happened for Twitch, as this past weekend at TwitchCon, just about the worst thing that could happen did happen live to one of their biggest female streamers. This also happening weeks after many of the top female streamers and others stressed their concerns for safety at this event. The one thing Twitch had to do for TwitchCon was make sure that safety was a top priority, somewhere where they certainly fell through, as streamer Emiru was assaulted live during her meet and greet by a crazed fan or viewer.
Whoa. That's crazy. Holy shit, what the fuck was that?
And luckily, all of this was recorded because, as Emmy will later state, she has no idea what Twitch statement would have been out there if they would have made one or if they still would have lied, and we'll get to that, if it had not been recorded and posted and gone absolutely viral. As you can see in that same clip, the guy literally just walks away, not detained by Twitch security or anyone else in the premises, at least in those near moments after the clip which we saw, which kind of goes against what Twitch later said and became a real focal point of how they handle these kinds of situations. Again, all of this happening after big streamers like Valkyrae, big streamers like Cutie Cinderella, even someone like Kassan. Despite recent controversy, you had many big streamers, especially women out there, saying, hey, I don't feel comfortable going to this kind of event with the state of the world out there, and a lot of people made fun of them. Maybe we were wrong, obviously, because even Twitch can mess this one up. Even after all your big streamers said they were concerned for their safety, you couldn't keep them safe. As right after the instance, Twitch did state the safety and security of all those attending TwitchCon is our highest priority. This behavior displayed by the individual involved in the incident yesterday involving a high-profile streamer, funny they somehow could not name Emiru in this tweet, was completely unacceptable and deeply upsetting. In line with existing TwitchCon security protocols, law enforcement and event security were on site and responded to the incident. We immediately blocked this individual from returning to TwitchCon premises, and they are banned indefinitely from Twitch, both online and in-person events. We are coordinating with impacted creators team, and per our standard protocols, continue to cooperate with any law enforcement investigations. And also saying how they've now increased security for other meet and greets and other streamers at their request. But the crazy thing about this is Emiru took to Twitter to literally say that Twitch lied in their statement, because as we also saw for ourselves in the clip, he was not immediately detained and pushed off the premises. He was allowed to walk away and wander for who knows how long, and we don't know when Twitch security or actual security there did take him down or kick him out of the event, and as they did say, now indefinitely ban him from all future Twitch events, which is awesome. By the way, Emiru later confirmed she will be pressing charges against this individual, which is also well-deserved. I don't know how stupid and crazy you have to be to think that that is somehow okay, an okay thing to do. But yeah, people out there are crazy. He will be pressed against, and there's live evidence against him, so it probably will not go well for that individual, as it shouldn't. But for a lot of people out there, it was the statement by Twitch that really rubbed some the wrong way, including Emiru herself. Before we get into her lengthy response, it was also a reporter known as Taylor Lorenz who had a quick, brief interview with Dan Clancy. The full interview is yet to be released, probably later this week by her, but a little snippet of Dan Clancy responding to this, to which people did not think that he or Twitch, him representing Twitch, took enough accountability for this situation after it occurred.
And others. Obviously, we saw one Twitch streamer yesterday, Emiru, get assaulted by a male fan, and a lot of streamers have, especially female streamers, have talked about, the danger that they feel from these sort of toxic, I guess, parasocial kind of creeps. What are you guys doing to prioritize safety? Because I know also a bunch of Twitch content creators said that they were too scared to even come to TwitchCon this year, just in case something like what happened yesterday would happen.
The safety of our creators is the top priority. The challenge we face is a challenge in today's society. It's not limited to Twitch. It extends throughout our society. I do think that when you're live streaming, in many ways, since you control your community and you can ban people, you can make it so that those people that you don't want engaging with you and participating with you aren't there. Okay, it's very different, when I use other short form content and people say all sorts of stuff. stuff. Well, I can't stop that. But when I live stream, they basically don't bother me. Now, what happened yesterday obviously was something that we care deeply about, securing this environment. You know, we're looking very closely at everything that happened there, and I care deeply about Emmy. She's a friend of mine, and so I want to see how we can support her. This is just something we have to keep working on. I think everyone identifies our tools in terms of trust and safety as the leaders in the industry about helping creators, but that means there's always more work to be done because that's the world we live in now.
Demi had posted earlier today that I guess this fan was allowed to cross multiple barriers at TwitchCon. Why should streamers trust Twitch to keep them safe at TwitchCon? Because I feel like simultaneously this has been such a secure event to the point that even like journalists have had struggled. Like, you know, it is very secure, but here's this man that just walks up and is somehow able to bypass all these things. So why should they trust the platform when slip-ups or, you know, issues like this have happened?
Well, I mean, as you know, I think you toured some of what we do in terms of security. The reality is, even as you do a lot in terms of security in today's world, there are challenges that can present themselves, especially when someone is putting themselves out there, right? And so, you know, we try to work very closely with each creator about what they want to do and what works for them, right? So I don't want to get into any, you know, specifics or details, but part of that is working with creators and, you know, trying to find, and right now we're definitely, you know, ramping it up to make sure creators know that we have the resources there to help them figure out what's right for them.
You know, people thinking he's kind of saying like, oh, these things happen, you know, how do you prepare for these things to happen? You know, usually online you can control your chat, but in person, these kind of things are different. And I understand he was in a tough spot, and who knows legality-wise what he can and can't say. He's got to tread really carefully when one of your top streamers is now speaking out against you about being assaulted at one of your events. These are very, very hairy areas, and I'm sure he is certainly restricted in the way he can address these things. But at the end of the day, he didn't take accountability that people wanted to hear from him. And so that is why Twitch is continually being judged, alongside the fact that their statement was also called out as at least a partial lie when it came to detaining the guy who did this to Emiru. It was overall a very bad look. And it only got worse as Emiru later made a longer video around this instance and, you know, explained a few different things. As apparently in the past, she had her favorite security guard who has now been banned from all TwitchCons because he defended her from a previous predator who was going after her. She had a previous stalker. Apparently her favorite security guard stepped in to detain him until police showed up, and somehow that resulted in her favorite security guard being banned from TwitchCons for some reason.
His favorite security guard was permabanned from TwitchCon because at a previous TwitchCon 2 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, there was a stalker and he held him by the arm until police got there. And because of that, he was indefinitely banned from TwitchCon. Like from all of TwitchCon, not just the venue, because that was in Las Vegas. Anyway, that just a side note.
And she also said that apparently Twitch and their initial punishment for this guy who did this to her was to ban him for 30 days on the Twitch platform. That was what she was told, as she then calls out the head of Amazon security and the head of risk at Twitch for that information being forwarded to her about the initial punishment.
My manager comes back to me and she's upset. She's like, okay, I've been talking to Twitch people and I'm really upset because I noticed a lot of negligence around the event and I'm not happy with the way that they're handling it now. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, I asked them, you know, like, what are they gonna do about this? And you know what they said initially? They said, oh, well, he's banned from the platform for 30 days. What? And then she's obviously like, hello? Like, that needs to be indefinite. What the fuck are you talking about? Also, that's like nothing to do with anything. No one gives a fuck if he's banned on Twitch or not. Like, we're talking about the convention here. So they change it to indefinite. Takes an hour for that to happen, by the way. These two people are the head of security for Amazon and the head of risk for Twitch.
And then finally, she starts to encourage people to no longer attend TwitchCon, and this could be the ultimate ripcord on not just this event, but who knows the future, you know, ramifications Twitch will be facing here for all their events, but especially TwitchCon and the platform in general. She's encouraging other streamers to actually stand up, and if they want things and changes to be made, to not go to events like this, because if Twitch can't ensure her safety as one of their top streamers, how can they ensure the safety of all the other streamers out there who don't have the same resources that she had, the same security that she had, the same promises from Twitch that she had, and still this somehow happened to her?
Really, would discourage other creators from going back to TwitchCon, not just because it was able to happen at all, and what happened during it, and the aftermath. Why would their PR team say that? Like, you can literally see in the clip that he's allowed to walk away.
So ultimately, at the end of the day, Emiru is calling out Twitch, not just for partial lies in their statements, but of course letting her down and having this happen to her at TwitchCon. It is a crazy event, and I feel like we're far from this conversation being over. At the end of the day, luckily, Emiru is okay. The situation could have been so much worse. To allow these kind of people to get such close proximity without vetting or proper backgrounds, we could have been looking at a situation that was so much worse. It's sad to say, but luckily it only was what it was. But it also takes a moment like this, not just for Twitch to prepare for better things in the future, but to warn other streamers that unfortunately there are people out there like this, and times are weird, and you do have to protect yourself if you have the means to do so, and be careful at these kind of events, as sad as that is. But until next time, hope you guys all enjoy. Hopefully back here with some better gaming news in the future, but that certainly was the biggest thing from this past weekend. Where does Twitch go from here? Who freaking knows? Till next time, guys, take care. We'll see you back here soon.